Hello, good evening and welcome to my model railway layout, Bedstead Junction. Tonight we are looking at a Manor class locomotive going around the track. This is one of 30 locomotives built for lighter duties on the Great Western Railway, and they were to the design of Charles Benjamin Collett, and they were produced from 1938 onwards. Now these were designed for routes where the Grange class of locomotive was not allowed, and they were seen on the Cambrian Coast Express in Wales and gave great performance on there. Now initially they had a reputation for being poor steamers and not having the power of all the rest of the 460s. But experiments were carried out in 1952 at Swindon, and the modifications resulted in a very well steaming locomotive. And in fact, when these were used on the Cambrian Coast Railway in Wales, they were very popular with their crews. They were turned out in immaculate condition. This one is of Lydham Manor. Now Lydham Manor was is actually preserved, and it's on the Painton and Dartmouth Steam Railway, and I have actually been behind this one. I've actually was inspired by videos I've actually seen of the Painton and Dartmouth Steam Railway to go and visit it, and this was one of the locomotives which was featured. Lydham Manor. So one of a class of 30 locomotives. Now, in model form, this is produced by a manufacturer called Mainline. And now Mainline stopped making locomotives around about 1984, when the parent company Palitoy decided to depart the model railway industry. I'll just watch it go around a little bit more. I have actually put a crew in this one, so I've glued in a driver and a fireman. The cabs on these models at least aren't decorated in any way, so nothing's actually picked out. Everything will be in black. But bear in mind, this is a 1980s model. I actually had to take this one to pieces today because it was actually misbehaving, and in fact the motor needed a good clean. Inside it was absolutely black. I took it totally right down to pieces, and it being a split chassis locomotive, in fact the construction is quite simple. Because all it is just the screws holding the motor in. There's no wires in these, and that's the advantage of a split chassis locomotive. You can see now it's running quite well around the track. And it's pulling 3 Great Western coaches. So I think on a Great Western locomotive has to be, doesn't it? Especially if it's green. Now what we'll do is we'll pull around and have a little look at her, see if we can see her clearly enough. You can see it's number 7827. You can see the copper chimney represented quite well. I think there will be brass safety valve cover on there, and the whistle at the back, the cab. You can clearly see the again the 460 wheel arrangement. So you've got 4 leading wheels, 6 driving wheels, and no trailing wheels under the cab. And it's a 2-cylinder locomotive. That's in fact a lot of the Great Western locomotives were. Now, I paid a fair amount of money for this one, considering it's an older locomotive, but it was actually advertised as being immaculate, which it was, and advertised as running, which is another thing. I would never ever buy a locomotive that's advertised as a non-runner. And this one was running, today it was running poorly, and in fact it stopped running, so that was just a motor needed cleaning. When I did buy it, it was actually running. Now, it being a mainline one, it comes with the usual instructions there, which gives you a history of the class of the locomotive. And a nice drawing of it as well. Then instructions as well, how to change the brushes on the motor. That's something you can do on these. I mean, some of the more modern locomotives you can buy now, if you have a problem with the motor, you have to replace the entire motor. And on some of that does include soldering. But with these, just take it all to bits and replace the parts that need to be replaced. And in fact, you can still buy the parts on eBay. In fact, for me at least, watching this go around the track, I can imagine myself on the Painted in Dartmouth Steam Railway, where this is preserved. Say, heading from Painton into Dartmouth, while heading towards Kingswear, and maybe taking the ferry across to Dartmouth. Well, that lovely coastal run. Now, before I overhauled this one, it needed quite a lot of juice off from the controller, a lot of power from the controller to make it run. In fact, it had to be turned up. And you can see on here, this is my controller. And that's pulling well on 30. In fact, it will run on even less. It was needed about 40, 45, 50 just to make it go before I overhauled it. So it proves I was able to do a good job today on this. And what we're going to do is we're going to put her into the station and we'll have a closer look at her. Let her do one more circuit. Right, let's stop her at the points up there and we'll see if we can get her in over the points. So what we're going to do, we're going to do our usual changing of the points. There, so we're switching from the main line to the siding where our platforms are, and we'll just make her move forward. There we are, perfect. Perfect, straight into the station, no problem at all. Now, we'll get a closer look now. Again, this one had people parked up. Now we can see it's got a single chimney. They all had a single chimney. It's got the later BR Quest, which would have been after 1956. And you can see, just see there, I don't know if you can see it there. I can't get in close and much closer on this, but you can see the actual nameplate of Lydham Manor. And that's what got me attracted to this locomotive. See, it's in lovely BR green with the lining. Got silver buffers. The colo doesn't look too bad considering it's a model from the 1980s. Very, very pleased with it. And then for comparison purposes, even though we won't be featuring this locomotive tonight, That's County of Monmouth just behind us. That's a Hornby model. Okay. And like I say, this I was able to take this locomotive totally to pieces, put it all back together again, and as you can see, it's back in perfectly good running order. Even in a slightly different perspective. Now, there's a lot of things that you get on these older locomotives, and it's either got benefits or advantages, whichever way you look at it. One is that some of these details on here are not separately fitted parts. So the levers, you can see there, clearly see the levers on the front. That's on the front of the smoke box there, just underneath the number 7827. That's the darts. That's actually moulded onto there. In fact, the details, in fact, all moulded into the body. It's not separately fitted parts. The handrails are. But that has got the advantage that these parts obviously cannot be broken off if they're moulded on. I bought a locomotive a short while ago, and my first attempt at buying it, I had to send it back because that part there was separately fitted on it, and it was broken off in the bottom of the box. Obviously something that can't happen on this one. I think the only thing I had to do on this is that there's a small detail back here. One of these little detail parts in the there, because it's poking out there on my finger, was missing. Probably I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have noticed. I didn't notice for a little while, but I managed to scavenge one from a model. That's a scrap. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say farewell to you now tonight from Bedstead Junction. This is a very, very short, much shorter video, and that's just to give you a glimpse of my model that I've just repaired today, which is the lovely Lydham Manor. Okay, so if you like what you see, press like, subscribe if you want to see more videos, and thank you very much, and good night.